Welcome to the Wake Up Dad Show. This is episode number 8.
I remember walking through the door tired from a full day and handed a kid and just playing the role of the dad. I'm still really not knowing what I was doing exactly, but underlying all that was complete fear.
Wake up, Dad!
Are you confused and overwhelmed about your role in all the craziness that is being a dad? Are you struggling to create the life you hope for? Are you looking for other dads to share your struggles and your triumphs? Or do you just need help waking up in the morning? Join your host, Dr. Scott Vatcher, as he explores the amazing and sometimes crazy world of being a dad. This is the Wake Up Dad Show.
Hello and welcome to the Wake Up Dad Show. On the show with me today, I've got one of my great friends. His name is Dr. Evan Hill. He's now 39. He built a startup chiropractic business at the age of 26 with his future wife fresh out of chiropractic school in midtown Toronto. He pursued this business success for 10 years before retiring at age 36 as a result of replacing his income with residual income streams through network marketing and real estate. His main pursuit has always been to create freedom, be in excellent health, live on purpose, and have strong, meaningful relationships with his family and friends. While working as a young dad as a chiropractor, he struggled in silence constantly as he sacrificed all of those core values to make ends meet. Having retired from chiropractic, his focus is now on his relationship with his wife and 3 kids, aged 7, 9, and 5, and the team of thousands he has built who are on a similar journey to health, freedom, and meaningful purpose and relationships. So, Dr. Evan, welcome to the show.
Wow. Thanks, Scott. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, and thanks for putting this together. This is great.
No worries at all. How about you get us started by, we gave you a bit of an intro there. It always sounds good when you hear it like that, doesn't it? So tell it.
Well, there are certain parts that I could feel. I felt a few of those parts. So I was like, ouch. Yeah.
Yeah, life is interesting that way, isn't it? So to get us started, besides sort of the background story, tell us a little bit about your story of becoming the dad that you are today.
Sure. So I'm going to start back just a little history about where I came from. I had my parents divorced at a young age, and I lost my dad at 17. When I was 17, and one of the things that kind of shaped my decision making when it came to creating my future, deciding on my career, was that my dad was the only dad who worked 4 days instead of 5, and all the other dads in town, they were working 5 days a week, and so it was really a lifestyle decision for me. It looked like he was well respected in the community. It just seemed like a good thing to do. So that's what I pursued. And one of my underlying dreams in my life was to have a family with 3 kids. And so I really wanted to be a dad that had a close family, 3 kids, and that was like my dream. And so went through the schooling, university, chiropractic college, met my future wife there. And as Scott said, we started our journey together, creating our startup chiropractic business in midtown Toronto. And we did that for, it was really like 3 years of just pure grind. And that's where I learned a lot of lessons. One of them is that I was going to be trading time for dollars for the rest of my life. I realized that when I took vacations, my practice went down. I realized that if I wanted to make more, I was going to have to work harder and smarter. And so that went on until from 26 years old till 29. And it was at 29 where kind of a gift fell on my lap, which is the connection to network marketing that Scott spoke of. But at that point, I was really, I was just doing better health, and that really gave me an up level in my health, my energy. I felt extremely focused, on the system. And then I made 2 radical changes in my life at age 30. So 1 year later, after really getting things on track health-wise, we were doing very well with our practice. We decided we were going to have kids. And we had, and that was one decision. The second one is I went vegan. And so it didn't work for me. The vegan aspect.
I thought you meant the kids aspect.
18 months of. Yeah. It's a good thing I clarified that. And we had the 2 kids 18 months apart, and it was fine with the one, because Cheyenne could handle the one, no problem. But when we had the second one, she was overwhelmed. And so I really had to up my game as a partner, and to be there and support her. And I remember walking through the door tired from a full day and handed a kid, and just playing the role of the dad, still really not knowing what I was doing exactly, but really underlying all that was complete fear of failing as a dad, as a husband. We had just moved to an expensive area in Toronto, and we loved it. And the last thing I wanted was to, have to come home and tell Cheyenne that we have to move. So I had an extreme level of stress and fear going on. Not to mention, I wasn't nourishing my body properly. The vegan diet was just not working. I was losing a tremendous amount of weight. I got down to 126 pounds, if you can believe it. And my immune system started to fail me. And twice I was hospitalized with life-threatening illnesses, which, like, literally medicine had to save my life. And I fought through those, bounced back, and thanks to the universe just lining things up for me and some angels being there for me. But in that, I remember at this time my son was about 1.5 years, so he was my second, and I remember sitting in my car, hands on the steering wheel, about to pull out again, go to work, and I just couldn't do it. And I was like, wow, like, I just realized, like, I can't do this anymore. It's just so many things weren't working in my life. And at that point, I made a decision. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I had to find a way to free myself up. I was really committed to being healthy. I was committed to being a dad that wasn't going to die young. I was committed to being there, being the dad that knew his kids well, that was part of their lives, part of their families, and with their grandchildren, or with my grandchildren, I should say. And so, I really had to make a decision on what vehicle I was going to choose. And, real estate had been good for us, renting real estate. We were creating residual income, but we were completely leveraged out. We couldn't get any more money from the bank. And then there was Isogenics. It was always something that I had shared with people, and I had created an income with it, and it was growing without a lot of effort, but it wasn't ever really 2 feet in with it. I didn't really know how to do it. And so I decided I was going to really step in with both feet and figure it out. And that's what I did. And, and I did that while I was continuing with the properties and with chiropractic. And in 3 years, after I made that decision, we built that income to a point where I could have our third kid, so we could have a nanny this time. And that was great. We had a great experience there. And then eventually that income surpassed my net income as a chiro. And it just happened to be the same time when Cheyenne was ready to get out and do something. So it was cool because she was able to go into the practice and really serve from a place that I wasn't able to serve from. It's just serving through passion, and I was serving through survival. And I was able to come home and really start to build my relationships with my kids, and completely without the distractions that I had before. And I was able to pour into myself and really heal myself. I really committed to the nutrition through Isogenics and the healthy eating, and really got disciplined around that. And I built my body up. I I added, from the 126 pounds, I went up 30 pounds from that since that period. And then I actually competed against guys like 15 years younger than me and on stage and in a fitness comp and placed third on that. So that's kind of like bringing me to today where, my kids are now 9, 7, or now actually 9, 8, 5. And we've got an amazing relationship, and I'm able to really invest in my family.
That's quite the story, isn't it? Woo! Wow. Yeah. I mean, I want to circle back a little bit because I think it's a really, really important. I mean, there's a number of important points in there, though. But in that place where you said, I just can't do this anymore, and then with the transition, just so listeners understand as well. Evan's wife is also a chiropractor, so she was able to transition into the same role. But that when you said to do that from a place of passion versus a place of survival, and I think a lot of dads out there they might be in that position right now. And so, how did you transition out? Like from that story, I got that you made a decision, and that decision then propelled you to be able to go forward to make the change, as opposed to just going, can't do this anymore, I quit today, I'm done. Then you created a plan, and then that plan of attack or plan of action was able to get you to where you are now. But there had to be that transitional period. Is that what I'm getting?
Absolutely correct. And I remember calling up the person who sponsored me at Dysogenics, Suzanne Hart, and I said, I'm all in. Tell me what I got to do. This is what I need to create. And she said, okay. And she literally held my hand and walked me through. Yeah, I'm so grateful for her. Like I get emotional just thinking about it, but she, in a way, like I feel like she saved my life because she believed in me enough, and she invested the time in me. And I knew it was going to take time. I wasn't going to make any rash decisions. I had to still, keep the roof over the head and keep my kids fed and that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely it was a thought out process, but the decision was key.
So yeah, I mean, and there's another great point. First of all, decision. And then second of all, mentor. How important is that? I mean, to find somebody who's done what you want to do. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to be the expert. All you need to do is ask for help.
Yep, exactly. And it brings me to what my passion is now is, I see so many dads just like you, Scott. My passion is very in alignment with you. And when, I reached out to you about this, when I saw that you were starting this movement, my passion is really to help dads own their lives physically and financially, and to create that freedom if necessary, so that they can make those choices that can help them really live like a fruitful, fulfilling, and healthy life. And because I just see it so often around me where they're struggling badly, like I was.
And that's sort of, it sort of leads in directly to the 5 Ps of dadhood. For you, that transition created a purpose which was aligned with you to create that passion. It created power because, to go from a life-threatening illness to third in a fitness comp within, a relatively short period of time, to be able to provide for your family in a better way, and then be around as a parent more, which, when all that happens, typically passion, the reason why a lot of that gets lost is because the other 4 are lost. So, I mean, that really sort of sets the stage for all of them, which is just a brilliant story. So, this show is dedicated to those dads who do want more, the ones that have fallen asleep. And I think, you're a prime example of having fallen asleep. And sometimes that slumber takes not days or weeks, but months and years to happen. And, you become unconscious about where you're at. And when that happens, you lose who you are as a dad, as a lover, as a person. And so those 5 Ps, I'm just going to review those for the audience at this stage. First one is purpose, and that's the reason why you're here and what you want to leave behind, or your legacy. Next one is power, which is reaching optimal health through fitness, nutrition, etc. Next one, of course, is parenting, being the best version of yourself for your kids and your partner. Providing is taking care of your family and being a role model. And passion in your relationships in your life. With those 5 P's, which one, we've sort of touched on it, but which one do you want to sort of dig a little bit deeper into to discuss with our listeners, something that you had as far as a struggle, something that either in the past or presently struggling with that you want to share to help dads out?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that the biggest thing I think is health. I really believe that when my health, well, it's really hard to say actually, Scott, but I think one of the questions that I had coming into this was, what would be like a tidbit of wisdom. And I think, if I was to answer that question first, maybe circle back to the one that's popping out the most, because I don't know if I'm really clear on it, is that dads really focus on pouring into themselves and to be taking inventory. And what I mean by that is to be living life, like we talk about, people have often heard of filling up your cup.
Yep.
And my philosophy of life really now is to fill up my cup such that I can give from my overflow and not give from an empty cup like I was before, where I had nothing left. And I think that the cup fills up with those P's, like the power and the passion, the purpose, the providing and the parenting. I feel all those things help that cup literally be overflowing. But it's the daily habits that I think are critical. So, like taking care of myself and being disciplined around taking care of myself and making sure that I was continuing to grow and to pour into myself. Be specific about what I'm saying. I mean, one of the things that really shifted for me was when I became really disciplined around my nutrition and my sleep habits. And every single morning I did something called 20-20-20, which is a habit that literally completely changed my life. And I learned this from Robin Sharma. Basically what it is every single day, he prefers between the times of 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. doing the 20-20-20 habit. And that's 20 minutes of vigorous exercise, 20 minutes of personal growth reading, and 20 minutes of visualizing or reviewing where it is you want to go in your life. So maybe it's a written thing that you have, or visualizing it in your mind where you're going, whatever it may be, but and even meditating on it, where it is that you want to go in your life. And that was something that I realized and discovered over the past year. But I would say if I had that prior to, I think that I don't think I would have struggled the same. I think it would have been a different journey for me, of a lot more. I don't think I would have gone quite down. I don't think I would have gone down that far, because that was a pretty low place in my life. Like I literally felt like I could feel myself dying, and so I just feel like there's just angels in place that helped me get back up. But now I still have challenges. However, these things continuously keep me at a place where I'm feeling very resourceful and strong. And so I'm able to stay on top of my life, even though things are still being thrown at me in all different types of directions. So it's a key habit.
I think that's an important thing to circle back on as well, is that idea of, when life is seemingly going well for somebody, you look at those people and you go, oh, they're so lucky, nothing bad happens to them or whatever. And it's just not true. every person has their own struggles. It's how you deal with those struggles that's the most important part. And having that consistent routine, I think, is absolutely vital. I think that's something that we're going to hear over and over again on the show. And Robin Sharma, I'll put him in the show notes, guys. And I just want to put out there as well is like this 20-20-20 routine is absolutely fantastic. But I know some dads out there instantly are going, yeah, right, an hour. There's no way that's going to happen, and then just completely forget about it. But just do if that's the case, start out with a 5-5-5, right? Start out with a 3-3-3. 9 minutes a day. If you can't find that in your day, then you're just not willing to work for it, in my personal opinion. If you can't find 9 minutes, and then you can work your way up from that. Because in reality, we can all find an hour in the day if we're truly wanting it and desiring more out of our lives and are willing to do what it takes to get it. But if that just sounds too overwhelming to start, just start short, hey? Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I think a lot of it is just making the decision first that, Robin Sharma really positioned it in a way that created value for me, by saying that the people that had created the most success that he knew of had a routine that included these things. And when he said success, he wasn't talking financial success. As we know, like there's so many different arenas of success. But as he was talking about overall success in their life, they had these things. And I'm like, okay, I'm all about creating success in my life. I've done enough of the other stuff. So I'm really wanting to create success. So I was all in. I'm like, I'm doing the 20-20-20. I was up. I didn't do 5 a.m. I did 6 a.m. And this was with young kids. Like I started it last year. So I had at the time I had 8, 6, and 4. So still super busy time. But it set up my day, and doing that. I remember the difference between before I did it and when I got going with it, and it was like I was on fire. And I still feel people are, still come up to me and like, man, you were on fire. Like you look like you're on purpose. And I just feel very focused on, focused and alive and creative and new ideas flowing through my brain all the time. And it's just a wonderful experience to be pouring into myself every day. But yeah, as Scott said, starting small, that, flexes the muscle and pretty soon you start to enjoy it and you don't want to miss it. Like, it's like you do it long enough and you actually don't feel well when you miss it. It isn't, as Robin Sharma says, how does he say it? It's hard at the beginning, messy in the middle, and beautiful. And it becomes beautiful. And it definitely will go through the experience of it being hard at first, messy in the middle, and then it gets beautiful. And when it's beautiful, like, you don't want to miss it. And that's where I'm at now. But definitely went through those. So, it's just a matter of just starting and just knowing it's not going to be totally perfect. Consistently every day, and you're amazed what books you get through. And I mean, I've never read some books in my entire life as I have in the last year. So it's phenomenal.
Yeah, done beats perfect every time, hey? So circling back on a little bit of being a dad, give us a lesson that you've learned. One of the biggest things that you've learned from being a dad.
Yeah, so the biggest thing I've learned from being a dad is to really fill up my cup and to exercise discipline in doing so. And I think that's probably the rarest thing nowadays is discipline. There's so many distractions, and a lot of people believe they're disciplined, but if you were to take away somebody's job, and because that creates a lot of structure for people, then I think the real true colors of discipline really shows through. And that's what happened for me when I came home and retired from chiropractic. I thought I was disciplined, but when I didn't have to get up and get myself ready and go to work, it was like, it was a gong show. I was, it was like, felt like I was back in university again. And so I just, it was a real slap in the face. I had like pretty much zero self-discipline around a lot of the habits necessary. And so, I think for dads, I think it's taking one step at a time to create habits that they've got some discipline around, that they're doing on a regular basis, that really makes them feel good, and helps them create that feeling of well-being and happiness and health. And because really truly, like the kids, yes, it's great, like it's wonderful, and they fill me up with joy and that sort of thing, but it's different now than it was before, because they were wonderful back when I was stressed and all that too, but I couldn't really be present to it. I was so stressed and so in my head about making ends meet and so on, that I wasn't present. So it's like missing out on all that. And I think that the investment into ourselves allows us to really capture the fruit of being a dad, and being able to be present with our kids, and really being able to listen to them, and really being able to read between the lines as to what they're saying, and being able to offer them our energy and our time.
Yeah, and that's absolutely a awesome point, Ev. That's a really great take home for dads. Now, us dads, we absolutely love gadgets, don't we? Things, little things. So what app or book or gadget or audiobook or game or exercise routine or author or something are you loving right now that you could pass on to the dads to, just give them something to look for?
Okay, so yeah, I think the 2020, Googling that, Robin Sharma, is the best thing I could pass on to the dads out there, and also the Isogenics. I believe that's a game changer. It impacted all of my P's, my purpose, passion, power, providing, and parenting, and learning about that, and being open to the possibility of that being a vehicle that could be used to create what it is you're looking for in your life.
So you've started something up called a Global Dad Movement, haven't you?
Yes, I did. Yes.
So just give us like a quick rundown of that, and then let people know like what's the best way to get in touch with you, so that they want to learn more about this movement or about Isogenics, or have any questions for you.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So the Global Dad Movement is really a movement about igniting all dads and future dads to own their lives physically and financially, and to help them create freedom and a lasting legacy for their family. So it really comes from my journey. It's my passion to really help dads and meet them where they're at, and help them move forward just like I was helped. And something that's really driving me is the economic status of Toronto in particular. That's because of where I live. But I really believe that as parents, because of the way things are changing economically, it's so important to think a generation ahead, and to really create something that can help our kids, so they can get started. Like for me, I really want to be able to provide for my kids in a way that they can really pursue their interests and their dreams, rather than just pursuing a job that pays well. And so that's part of it, as well as really thinking about the future generations and creating multi-generational wealth, so we can impact our lineage.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how can people get in touch with you?
So Instagram, it's Global Dad Movement. Facebook, you can check me out, friend me at Evan Thomas Hill. And I also have a Global Dad Movement page. So any of those is great.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks again, Evan, for coming on the show. You dropped some real knowledge bombs there. I think the listeners will get heaps out of that. So thanks again for that awesome discussion. Guys, check out the website, www.thewakeupdadshow.com. Go to iTunes, give us a rating so we can reach more dads. And if you have any questions for me, my email is drscott@thewakeupdadshow.com.
Do you want to know more about the Wake Up Dad movement? Go to www.thewakeupdadshow.com to download any and all past issues of the show, claim your free gift, or to directly ask Dr. Scott any questions you have. Continue the conversation on the Facebook group Wake Up Dad. Share this podcast with other dads on iTunes or Google Play. Make sure to subscribe to the show and give us a rating so we can reach more dads. And dads, one last thing. Wake up!